Good evening.
What's going on,
Welcome
guys?
to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Boys.
Well, we're
How you
hoping
doing,
to have
Chandler?
Mike Gerlach on here tonight. I know he's in Arizona. I'm sure he's trying to get it done right now. But any sign of him yet, Chandler?
Nope, I don't see him backstage.
Well, should we just run the video and see how it goes?
Yeah.
So this is video that we did down at Gerlach's, Gerald Gerlach's Celebration of Life. And we went down there and visited with them before it got really busy. And then Greg did a bunch of interviews with guys that he got a hold of there that like to say a few things and some memories about Gerald and the loss of one of our Badger State family members. So
Pretty much.
it was amazing to see all the people there from all the different states and different organizations supporting the Gerlach family. So
Yeah. Yep. People from Missouri, Minnesota, Iowa, all kinds of people down to visit and had all kinds of good words to say it. And we didn't, I don't know if we even got everybody on that we should have gotten on, but we tried to get as many as we could, right?
Yeah.
So I guess
hopefully the sound is good because it was kind of loud there, I think, when some of that was going on with the people chattering, but
It actually didn't turn out too bad.
there was a lot of people there. I would have to guess close to 400 people there throughout the day, I would think. Wouldn't you guys?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that.
Oh, there they are.
Hey, there Mike. A lot of people, close to 400 people there throughout the day, I would think. Wouldn't you guys?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Little
Yeah,
echo.
but-
Like them.
Can you hear us, Mike and Teresa?
Yes,
Hi.
we can hear you guys. Can you hear us down here?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, good deal.
How's things in Arizona?
Just got down here a few hours ago, and it's always good down here. You for darn sure.
Yeah.
Whereabouts you at?
We are in Queen Creek, just south of Mesa. We have a friend of
Yeah.
ours has a house down here we get to stay at, so we're very fortunate in having to spend a couple weeks down here. Teresa and I just kind of go a few ball games, and we're gonna do a little golf and maybe a little sightseeing and go out and eat different places, kind of relax and enjoy each other's company. Just kind of get away from things for a while. We do this every year.
That's what they call
Good for
roughing,
Yes,
roughing it.
so roughing it. That's for darn sure.
Yep.
I have
So,
friends that
I just-
used to live in Queens Creek, and then Jay Butson lives there that pulls mini rods. He lives in Queens Creek. and
yes,
then-
he does. Yeah, we always run into Jay once in a while, and always have a good time when Jay's around.
Yeah.
So,
And other friends
You
of
get-
mine live in Mesa and Gilbert.
yep. Hope to go a few ball games. So, you guys going to run the video then, a whole video, and then we'll talk later, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Probably what'll happen, right? We were just
Yeah,
that's
talking.
fine.
How many people do you think came to the party that
Well,
day?
we had a sign up book at the door there, and there's over 480 people signed up, and we're pretty sure that there was much more than that. And the amount of people that showed up, it was overwhelming. How many people showed up to respect mom and dad, where they were from. We have people from Minnesota, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. I mean, there's so many people that I didn't have a chance to talk to anyone, and I apologize for that. But the outgoing support from everyone in the farming community and our tractor pulling, it was more than I ever expected, and it's very humbling. It really is. It's something really cool that we was able to do for mom and dad, and it was very enjoying seeing everybody. It was pretty neat.
Okay. Well, we had a lot of good comments on people we interviewed, so maybe
Yes.
we should do that. And anybody has any questions or comments at the end of the show, make sure you send them in. And
Yeah, let's show that video because I think you and Chandler and John did a heck of a job of all these videos, and I think we need to show that video, and that'll kind of tell the whole story.
I think it will too. So, all right, Chandler, you want to start it off?
Yep. I will get it up.
Gerald Gerlach family farm here to celebration of life for Gerald, and whole Badger State family is here to support him and all his neighbors. We're going to get a few interviews and comments from some of the people here and talk about Gerald and his life and his legacy of one of the original Badger State tractor pullers. Right?
Yeah. Somber day here with the Gerlach family, but we're hoping to hold them tight and hope we get some good messages, good send off.
As always, the Badger State family and neighbors from Minnesota, pullers, competitors. I know the Bousmas are coming, and
Doug Ruth and them from
Missouri, and more than that. I'm sure more people be here than we know. But we're gonna try and get them all in here today and introduce you to all of them. Thank you.
Well, we're here today, Badger State Tractor Pullers, celebrating the life of Gerald Gerlach. We're here with his son Mike and close friend Corey Nephew that helps out the tractors, and a send off for Gerald, and a great guy, cornerstone of Badger State Tractor Pullers, one of our families. So we're here today to celebrate his life and talk about some good times we had and
Tell some Gerald stories.
tell some
right.
Gerald stories.
Exactly.
Some fun. Yeah, absolutely.
I can start with the Gerald story about 8-10 years ago. The green X was on the schedule when it comes out.
Dad had Mom would print the schedule out, and Dad had his poles he wanted to drive at. Like Greg said, he'd mark them with a green pen or something, and Greg and Randy Brew would ask, we call the pole, is this a green check or a regular check? And Dad had his poles, and these guys thought it was finer than heck that he had his places he wanted to pull or drive the track.
Even the ladies, when we entered, they asked the question, is this a green check day, Gerald?
It's kind of the way he said, I'm driving here. And one of his favorite poles, he always wanted to drive, he always drove a Milledgeville, just one of his poles. And there's quite a few handful of ones, but that was one of his things. That's how he knew he was going to drive. And obviously, these guys took it and ran with it and had fun with it.
It is. You got it, right? That's what makes it fun, and sharing everything with each other about life. That's what it is. It's fun.
Yep.
The little background on the tractor. My dad bought this tractor new in '74. And there was a John Deere dealer in one town and a Red dealer in the other end of town. And the Red dealer gave him the best deal buying a tractor back in '73. So that's how we ended up with Red equipment. It was just back then. And then this tractor farmed, and we got pictures over there with my great grandpa there, and farmed with it and pulled with it. And I don't know the year it was a full-time puller tractor, but
it's finally when the PTO took off.
Yeah.
PTO's gone, boys.
Yep. The three main pieces shields are still part of the tractor that was original one. The frame rails, we still run the stock frame rails. They're still the stock frame rails, and ever since then, she's been our baby. So that's how kind of that got started. So we've been very fortunate with our tractor. The tractor's we've had real good local people. Robbie Lemke, Fair Valley helping us get the tractor running, and probably one of the best engine builders right up the road here, Gary Brinkmer. He's always willing to help us with the tractor. I mean, we had any questions and advice, he's always there to help us, and you can't thank him enough for everything he's helped us throughout the years. And him and Dad being best friends, it worked out really well. And very fortunate the tractor's had a couple instances where points with went into class a couple times. So we very, very fortunate in our pulling career.
Always rating it.
Yes.
Yep.
And
it's not over until the Gerlachs come through.
well, it's part of pulling it's a test of Badger State how dedicated everybody is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all the classes.
Classes
And then
are, I think especially the 4-1 class, just sticks out for us because we're in it, but it is so competitive. Any tractor, any night can have the perfect pass and win, and it comes down to your setup and reading the track,
be
Your
consistent.
class is about, the same way.
They're all.
Louisville this year, you guys really set the mark down there.
Yep, we
Really brought her home for Badger State. Got to be a proud weekend for your full family and your dad.
it kind of started out. Dad was never a huge fan of indoor pulling. He just thought it took a lot of time, which it does, and he never really So the last minute, like a week before the paperwork had to be turned in, I asked Dad about it. Yep, sure, let's do it. Let's go for it. So my wife helped us. We were combining corn. She got all the paperwork done, and by God, we got accepted. And then we just left the tractor alone from this summer. We changed oil. Corey changed oil, and we ran her twice, and that was it. And the old girl was very reliable.
And you had some tough competition there.
Yeah, and it is.
Tough
And,
classes, yeah.
Because that's the only class in Louisville that actually takes the points champion and second
Yes.
place.
Yep.
Yep.
It's the only way you can get in.
And that's what our goal was, to get down there. Dan and I talked a few years ago. We wanted to make it down there, but we knew you had to win the points.
Yep.
Well, then this year they added a second class. Gosh darn it.
Yep.
Let's go for it. So we tried it and it worked out good.
And
It was a hell of an experience. We had all our family was down there, the grandkids,
Yes, that was awesome.
mom
to
and
see.
dad, and everybody. And
it's a great feeling to get out there.
when you get going down the hill and you see everyone there and with the crowd this year, it gave you goosebumps. It made you proud to be a tractor puller, and it didn't matter how you finish. It's just the fact of being able to participate with all your friends and getting the tractor set up. And Corey had the tractor set up. We knew how we were going to set the tractor up before we left. We knew this and that. And the old girl did a good job, and then we got the pull Saturday. That's just the cherry on. Yes, and Greg was able to pull Saturday night, and Randy, and I mean, Bad Sheet had a damn good showing down there for Saturday night, and then able to come home with us. We very lucky we got to pull twice. We got first hook because the first one we knew right away at 215 was not gonna.
Yeah, it was
come
hot.
back. Yep.
It was hot. Run it again.
Very fortunate to pull down there, and we're if we never get to go down there again, our last time we can say we did it together and
Feel the
did
greens.
as well as we did.
Made her there.
And even to get there, though, it came down to the last hook of the Badger State season,
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
to get second
Yes.
place.
Because it was
That was a nail biter right to the end there.
Right.
That day, yeah.
with the Gallus tractors, and then there being so many tractors in the class, you had to finish up top. If you finished way back and the tractor behind you or right in front of you finished forward,
Points can swing.
Yeah.
That darn Kathy.
Yes.
That darn Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
What?
balance right in there, right? Yeah.
So,
But, you did a great job and got her in there. That's
and it's part of Corey. Corey gets the tractor ready here at the farm for us and preps it and reads the track with Dad. And I was able to drive the tractor most time this year, which was very fortunate of that. And Dad he said he wanted to step back this year a little bit. And he said next year's going to be my year. He's going to drive. Well, he'll be with us.
Yep.
He'll be with us for moving forward. But
he's going to be with all of us.
yeah.
So Corey here with the family here. Explain that. I know the history of it a little bit, but let's tell the fans a little bit about
Corey's
this.
been working for us and Dad, especially Dad, for how many years now?
Well, it started. Gerald knew me before I knew him. Because my dad used to tractor pull.
Yep.
And
Your dad is
Dave Neff.
Dave Neff. Yep.
And and we all grew up pulling together. So us kids all ran together when Mike and I were younger, and then I think I was still in high school and I started working part-time here at the farm, spring and fall, and then I left for a while and I've been back now for probably pushing 15 years, and it's just, I don't know if I've told Mike this, I know I told Gerald and Wendy several times, everything they've done for me, I can't begin to repay them, and I can't quit her.
Part of the family.
I can't.
Yep.
It's just, it is. I love working here on the farm, and they give me the opportunity to run with the tractor and drive every once in a while. So, it's
Family,
a neat opportunity.
friends, pulling.
Yep.
All the same thing. And talking to the people that are coming to visit today, the Bausmas and Doug Ruth from Missouri, and they're coming from Minnesota today. I know that, and that's an extended.
That's
family.
one thing we noticed after Dad passed away. There, the text started coming in, the phone calls. I didn't realize even where the numbers were from and who they were, and it shows how the farming community is so great, but the pulling community is even greater yet, and it's so broad, and everyone knows everyone. They do different things, and
Look at this guy.
that makes the pulling, us to be in the pulling community really is nice. That everyone, even if they don't pull in our class, it's someone you knew or talked to from who knows where, Missouri or Minnesota or whatever. It makes you proud to be a puller, no matter what level you're at. It's a good family to be part of, and I would not change anything for that.
And everybody gets along, even from hot farm to pro stock. Everybody gets along the same, and we all respect each other the same. Nobody's a bigger deal than the next
Whatever
one.
class you pull in, you get the other classes respect you as a puller, whatever class you're pulling in, and that's great, and that's what's going to keep pulling going in the future. And we need to get these younger generation people in there, and
There's one there.
someday hopefully
We got one right here. He's ready to pull right now.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So I guess all I can say is proud to be part of this family, in the Cohen family. thanks for what everyone has done for my dad. And sometimes you overlook things, but to realize how he was respected, and I knew he was well respected, but to hear the stories that people tell and the emotion, their emotions say a lot. And it's a good feeling to know that your dad or my dad was that type of person that
Always
people felt that way.
Always a gentle word, never mad, never angry that I've ever seen. I'm sure you guys have seen.
He
Always very humble when I
he
spoke.
was humble, but he
Always ask about
if he-
family
if he-
first.
Yeah, if he felt something, he'd tell you how he felt, but
And
he
you
was
always
fair.
listen.
He was fair about everything. So
That's all you can ask.
He was a great man. And,
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
in Badger State,
Yeah.
one of the guys that you listen to.
Yep.
He never said a lot, but when he said something, you damn well better listen.
Yep.
He's right.
yeah,
I've been there since '74 when Badger State started. You know, one of the founding members,
Yeah.
the cornerstone. You know, him and Gary and them.
that's one thing he always said about Badger State. You know, we could all go pull anywhere, but the Badger State is where he wanted to pull. He wanted to be part of the Badger State people, and really great. Has ran it for all these years, and I mean, like I said, we could go pull anywhere, but this is where we want to pull, and this is where we're going to stay pulling.
Where the best
And
friends are.
Yes, and that's where our friends are at, and we know if we need anything, we can call anybody up, or vice versa. So we're very proud to be part of the Badger State group.
Badger State's just a class act.
Yeah.
It is, because Mike and I, we've traveled around enough. You guys probably have too. And you get to these other organizations, and it's like, what do they do? You know, it really makes you appreciate Badger State, how organized it is, how well it's put together.
Oh,
You
machine.
know, it's just.
And their announcing crew, you guys announced for many, many years, so that helps the show and the people in the stands. When you guys know what you're talking about, you know the people, you know the tractors and classes, and you can relay that to the people in the crowd. It goes a long ways, and I think our crowds have grown in some of these polls tremendously. Part of the tractors, but part of the announcers. I mean, it's not a dull moment. They get to learn who the driver is, who the trailer is, and where they're from, and people like that. So
With the class out. You can take a non-knowledgeable fan sitting in the stands, and you get done, or Stacy, whoever. Almost, I mean, you know,
They learn.
you understand it.
Yep. And you guys know they know what they're talking about. Where you play hammer and something, and you're right.
Yeah.
it's nothing.
It's not an easy thing, and it's hard, you know, finding someone to do what we do. But Stacy and I are also pullers. We do what you guys do.
Exactly.
We're underneath the hood, or we don't have hoods on ours, make it easier. But you know, we spent the nights in the shop, and our competitors too, and you know, we know the science of the game and what you're looking at when you're driving and setting it up.
That goes back to communicating with the pullers. So you go out in the pits or socializing, you know the people personally, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So
It's our family.
and that Badger State's been probably one of the longest running organizations for a long time, and I don't see any reason why that would ever change.
I think next year's our 50th.
74. So
24 will be
Next year.
50 years. Yeah.
50 years.
Yeah, 50 years.
What's one favorite memory before we get going here that stands out in your head with you and your dad tractor pulling? One that just it's always been there.
He always taught us to prepare the tractor. Never, always make sure the tractor's ready to go when we go to the polls, and that's one thing he's instilled in us. And I think the biggest memory for me is just watching him drive, but also him trusting Corey and I when he's in the driver's seat. We think we should go on the track, how to weight the tractor, what Corey does. Just to see him in the seat and know that he loved tractor pulling.
Oh yeah,
And,
big smile.
I think the
every time.
biggest memories is when I was a kid going to Louisville with him, you know, and that's what motivated us to go again. And hopefully we can do it again. But I just doing it together. I think I really don't have one pull,
Yeah.
but it's something that he started. He passed it on to us and our family, and I think just the experiences, people experience that he taught us is probably the best memory, I think.
Yeah. You didn't get to see the classic Gerald eye roll a lot, though. Because when Gerald was driving, you know, Mike and I kind of talked about where we wanted to go on the track. And, for the most part, they kind of left the weights up to me. So if we were close, you know, I'd run back, move a weight, and Gerald's like, well, you just through his helmet. It was
No
just
lies.
the classic eye roll. He's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we get done, and if it worked out right, he's like, oh, yeah, that was a good move.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the classic eye roll with him sitting in the seat was just, yeah.
Corey moving weights just to move weights.
Yeah.
We'll get him relaxed. I'll mess with him.
I know. Even my boys.
I moved him right back up. It just,
Even my boys love talking to Gerald. They did.
That's good. That's one thing Dad was. Even here in the farm, he talked to anybody
Yeah.
about anything. Didn't matter who you were, your age, what you loved. He asked those guys and people, and that's one thing I've learned the last couple of weeks, that how many people he really did talk to. And just like Greg said, his boys, they can talk to anybody, but they talk to Dad, and it makes me feel good and proud that he was able to help maybe influence some people that way.
I think one of the memories I had that was really cool with him was when we had the books where it had the tractors, drivers, you talk about who drove, sponsors and that. And there's a couple kids, their family, one of them by the pits there. And it might have been one of the Greene County Fall National ones, I think, now thinking about it. And they asked for a signature.
Okay.
And they were talking, and they didn't know who the driver was. And well, there's Gerald. He's right, right there. So they went up and talked to him. He was just awesome with them, and I'll sign that for you every year. He autographed it for him.
He liked socializing with everybody.
Yep. Made new friends that day.
And he was proud of what he had and what he made. He built this farm from scratch, and
Worked hard.
so it reflected on how we do things or how he taught us to do stuff. And so he definitely was a legend. I know it's hard for me to call him a legend, but to see what his influence on people, it makes me pretty happy. So we're very fortunate to have him as a dad.
Awesome. Well, I think we're gonna let these guys go, Greg, and a lot of family and friends starting to pour into the shop here, and we wanted to celebrate the life of Gerald Gerlach. And I know it's a tough time. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
And
We're going to get some more people on here and tell some more Gerald stories.
Perfect.
yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got cousin Jamie here. Going to tell you got some stories about Gerald too, right?
Up with Gerald, yes.
Yeah, snowmobiling.
Snowmobile stories. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, cousin Mike and Gerald were with us from St. Germain, Wisconsin, sledding. And one of my favorite stories, Gerald, him and me were in the back of the pack, and we're riding around a couple trails, and I'm bumping him, he's bumping, we're passing each other, and he got a little aggressive and went over a bank of the snow and lost control of his sled. Sled went right, he went left, and the tree just cleaned him right off the sled. He lay there all sprawled out. I stopped, run back up to Gerald. I said, Gerald, you all right? I think so. Just started laughing.
So he wasn't just competitive on the track.
Yes, he was aggressive.
Snowmobile trail too.
Yes, he liked to be first.
Yep, got to be out front. Yep.
Then that same year, he was riding old Polaris Cutlass sled. It rode pretty rough. He's Gerald, you get one of the bars, he stopped by, and he goes, Jamie, I'll show him how my sled rides. He got a folding chair, the wooden one. He starts bouncing his chair and just destroyed it. Fell on his butt, broke the chair all the heck. He did that twice that week.
Yeah.
Try sled rides, Jamie, and he'd fall down. Oh my God. Just stuff like that. Yes.
Yep. What about the customized helmet? You gotta tell me that story.
Oh yes. Back then, Uncle Gerald smoked a lot, so he had a full face helmet thing. Got hit the tree to hit himself and hit in the chin. So Jamie, I can't smoke with the helmet on. I take it off. So that night, he gets back to the cabin. He gets a drill out and goes about a 5/8 hole, and then got a helmet, puts a cigarette into the hole of the full face helmet, so he could smoke.
Smoke players riding.
Smoke players riding.
Yep, that's
Just out. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, that's some good old stories with Gerald back in the day. So,
That is.
Yep.
Number one we like to hear, and I'm hoping we're going to hear a lot of them from people coming up
There's
too.
a
I'm
lot
sure
of
we will. So,
Yep.
but if you can think of anything else, come on back and let us know.
Perfect.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
We're going to have many more.
Yep.
So you got Steve here. You've worked with Gerald and Linda and Mike and all that for how long?
47 years.
47 years. Holy smokes, that's a long time. So I'm sure you got a couple good stories about Gerald.
Yeah,
Farming,
I got a few.
other people, and just whatever you got. What's your best story?
Well, one of them, we had a tractor that rear axle broke, or combine, the rear axle broke down on. We were down across the road next to the creek, and we got the axle fixed and back underneath this old combine. We hooked up the hydraulic hoses for the steering, and we hooked them up wrong. And Gerald did a pretty good job of bringing it back up across the field, but we were going back into the shop, and he kept turning the wrong direction. So I told him, you got to turn right. And he did. But it was actually left.
Yeah.
So I said, go your other right. And we eventually got it in the shop and got it fixed.
Yeah, it is. That's tricky. Backing up, driving it forward is bad enough, but then
Yeah.
trying to back it up would be
Yeah.
a nightmare. Yeah, yeah. So, I've always known Gerald to be pretty quiet and gentle, you know, and not loud. And I bet you maybe seen a different side of him once in a while.
Over the years, he's mellowed.
Yeah.
He's mellowed. He had a lot more pressure back in the day.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And,
Farmer was tough back then.
yeah.
It was. It was. And you've grown a beautiful farm here, and you've been part of it, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
expanded. I mean, it's grown a lot over the years. How many acres you guys farming?
About 4,000.
4,000 acres. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yep. So I'm sure he's proud to have you around, and I'm sure you're proud to work for him. You had to be there for 47 years.
Yes. I've never had a complaint. There's been some bumps, you know, but nothing to get too worked up about.
Right. As long as everybody gets done, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And he's been drilled into both. The whole Gerlach family has been more like a family than a job or a boss. It's always been that way.
And that's how you build a business and have good employees.
Yes.
And work with them side by side.
I started full time in '76. When I graduated from high school, I moved up here from the Quad Cities, and I actually worked when I started working here. Actually, when I was 13, milking bale hay.
Yeah.
But you know, it's really been a really enjoyable, I guess, life here. It's just been
Perfect.
good.
Well, it had to be if you stayed that long. Came to do
Yep.
that, right?
Yep.
Well, if you have any more stories you want to tell me, remember something else, Steve, come on back and let us know. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Thank you. So Steve remembered one more story, so we gotta hear it, right?
Another good story we had here about 4 or 5 years ago. Sweet corn was just getting tall enough. We figured we better have a hot wire around it. So we put the hot wire up one day, and a couple of days later, Gerald asked if we should anybody check the hot wire, make sure it was working. A little conversation was had, and he was going to show us the right way to check the hot wire. And he bet a couple of us that we wouldn't really check it. We'd go out and make sure the light was flashing, but not make sure the fence was hot. So one of the employees here, he got down and he just swung his hand at the wire and hit the wire and it bounced, and he said, it must be working. Well, eventually Gerald said, I'll show you how to check this damn hot wire. So he gets down on his hands and knees, and Gerald wasn't the most mobile person, but he gets down on all fours, and he literally reached out and grabbed that wire. Well, he's grounded 3 other points. Yeah. And he just, and he fell over. And the other 4 or 5 of us, we just stood around and laughed at him. He didn't think that was too funny.
Yeah, that is the way to check it.
But that's my story.
That's a good story. Thank you, Steve. If you think any more, come on back. I'm sure you'll get them. A couple more beers will loosen them up, right?
I don't want to wear the camera out.
No, we got plenty of them. We're good. So we got Mike's son Trent here, and what's the boy's name? Baylor. They're going to tell a story about Grandpa, right?
So I got many stories, but I think one of my favorite stories that we all kind of talk about is when I was a lot younger, I was running grain cart, and how we were loading trucks, we had to be out on the road, and you had to back up to get back into the field entrance. And I was loading him, and I was pretty nervous, maybe a middle schooler. I was backing up and kind of snaking it, but I thought I was doing a pretty good job for a 15, 14-year-old kid. And he gets on the radio and he says, son, if you weren't my grandson, I'd kick your ass right now. That was just kind of one of the...
What were you doing wrong?
I don't know.
Around our place, a grain cart operator is never right.
Yeah,
You're never in the right place at the right time.
And there's one of the other funny deals is, so Grandpa always drove truck in the fall. That was kind of his thing to do. And every once in a while, he'd want to drive grain cart. We never volunteered him to drive grain cart, but he'd want to drive grain cart. And it'd always go good for a couple hours, and all of a sudden, be like, well, what do you got on there? I'm going to go take this to the truck, and stuff like that. And you'd always tell the combine guys what to do. So we kind of, it was always a dreaded day when Grandpa was jumping in a grain cart instead of a truck. So,
but he's the boss; he can do what he wants, right?
Yes.
That's how it is. That's how it is. And he was always good to everybody I ever seen. He's such a. I'm hoping you're proud. You're as proud of him as I am.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are.
Correct. And another, I guess, one good story. I didn't originally start coming back to the farm. I was a PT major, physical therapy major. So I started in Carroll and Waukesha. about halfway through my first year, it's kind of like, I think I want to come back to the farm, and I was always a part of it, but not a lot. And we had a meeting after a football game once in college, and I said, I want to come back to the farm. And he said, okay, two things. He's like, get a degree and go work somewhere else for a long time until you can support a family without this place. And, at the time, me and Dad were pretty upset. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? Why can't I come back to the farm? And it was the best decision I've ever made. And
It is.
it made me a better person, better for this place, and it was pretty good.
And it made you appreciate it here more.
100%. And
Once a farm boy, always a farm boy.
correct.
Right? But you've shown cattle too, though, right?
Yeah, showing cattle, and so now I currently sell seed corn, but I've been in the agronomy world for the last 5 or 7 years, so been able to take a lot of that, bring it back to the farm, and kind of part-time, full-time here.
Yeah. And you did play football for Platteville
I played a year at Gerald and a year at Platteville, and then started buying cows and getting into the show world stuff and the cow world, so I kind of gave that up, but yeah.
Well, that's all fun too. All fun
yeah.
ag.
Yep.
Well, if you have any more good stories you can think of, we're here to listen to them.
All right,
Okay?
all right.
So come on back and find us.
Yeah. Wait till my buddies get here. I have about 3 best friends that were like blood brothers. And my grandpa loved them to death. And God, they just loved hanging around with them, and they had a lot of stories. So.
All right, we're standing here with Randy Bader, Carousel Farms, the no-fair deer tractors. So you're going to get one out this year, right?
We're bringing the big block back out.
Bring the big block back out. You got to let's say a few kind words here for Gerald Gerlach here. We're at the tribute for Gerald, right?
It's a shame we have to meet this way. He was a fierce competitor and a wonderful guy.
Yeah, gentleman.
He'd give you anything you needed if you needed help, advice. We're going to miss that guy.
And it was advice you want to listen to.
Well, he was probably one of the first Badger State tractor pullers, I believe.
He and Gary Ringmer are the first ones. We're coming up in 2 years, going to be our 50th year.
It's amazing. Badger State's awesome. Hey, Jerry.
Yep.
Job well done up there.
Yep, we'll see you. You'll be watching from the best seat of the track, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you got any good stories, come and let me know. Thank you, Randy. Got Robbie Lemke here from Lemke Motorsports, right? That's what I'm going to call it. And you did Gerald's engine, but I want you to tell a story about him coming checking up on you.
Well, he's done it multiple times, actually. There's one time in the old shop, he actually shut my office door and he goes, "We got to talk." I said, "Oh no, Gerald, what's going on?" He goes, "Are you being honest with me with everything?" I said, "I am." All right. He shook my hand and he went home. That's all you wanted? Yep. So he drove 2 hours up and 2 hours back home just for that.
Just to shake your hand.
Yep. And then one time he told me, if my hat's up high like that, that means I'm happy. When he come in one day, he was like half mast. I said, "What's that mean?" He goes, "I want to make sure my motor is about done." I said, "It is." He smiled. He said, "See you later. I'm going home."
Well, did you put his name on a motor one time or a head or something?
Yeah. When we started doing the recast heads, same thing. He drove all the way up there and he goes, "I want to make sure you got my cylinder head ready." I said, "I'm not lying, Gerald." I said, "Look at us." And honestly, that morning, we just got the castings in. I wrote his name right on it. He looked at it, shook my hand, and he went back home. So, yeah, he was a good old boy.
You won't find a kinder man, right?
No, not at all.
No, that was good. That was good. Well, if you think of any more stories, Rob, let us know.
All right, thank you.
Ready? We got the king announcing for Badger State Tractor Puller, Stacy Butts, a long time. And I'm sure you've got some good Gerald stories, right?
Well, Jared's been pulling a long time, and I've been around a long time. But my biggest Gerald story that I remember is when he first came out with his Super Farm tractor back in, when was that, Greg, when he first came out?
93 or 4?
Yeah, okay. But he in typical Gerald fashion, he was successful right away. And as announced in one pull, I don't remember where it was at, but I say it as acknowledging his accomplishments. He won this pull, he won that pull, he won another pull. And they went out and pulled that day and did good. And after the pull, he comes up to me and he goes, "You don't need to say all that stuff about me next time. Just tell them who I am and where I'm from." And I'm like, "Okay, we got it, Gerald." But Gerald's a great guy. And I'm really going to miss Gerald because he always was one of the guys that took time to talk to me when I showed up at the polls. He always had a little something for me. And I'm going to miss him. He's a great guy and a great puller and a great man.
And I think he had that time to talk to everybody. I know my boys always find Gerald in the pits, and they find each other and talk to each other, and it was something that was, something special. You don't get that with everybody. Gerald was that
good of a guy.
Yeah, you know, him and Mike, you know, whenever I show up at Pull, they tell me stuff too. They say, we can't get the set of tires we want, you know, and they give me tidbits of insight that would help me do my supposed job better. But just being around good family, you know, that's what it's all about, really. Gonna miss him, that's for sure.
We all are. Thank you, Stacy.
You bet, Greg. Thank you.
All right, we've got Dan Holland here, lifelong friend of Gerald. You guys been around a long time together, right?
We've known each other for 40 plus years. We met when I was a young farmer just outside of Warren, and we both had livestock and we had a lot in common. And Gerald's been a big brother to me, a mentor and a friend to many, and he's been just meant so much to so many people. Touched so many lives. There's a tribute here today with all the people that have shown up. And I want to tell you about the things that Gerald would do that he probably wouldn't want people to know, but I'm going to tell you about people that didn't have enough money for fuel oil in their tank to heat their homes. And Gerald was the guy that he'd just get a hold of the people that supply the fuel and send the truck over and fill it up and send the bill to me. Gerald was the guy that we would drive around looking at fields, and he'd talk about different farming practices and how he agreed with what people were doing, how they could have maybe, in his opinion, done something a little bit different, but that's all right. I learned something every time I was with Gerald. Gerald was the guy that when somebody was talking about something they had done that didn't work out, and that was his expression, he'd say, well, what'd you learn from it? And again, a mentor to many, and when people would, somebody would be talking a little bit smack about what they were doing and stretching the truth, and Gerald said it in a way that nobody else could say it. He'd say, "Are you sure about that?" And anyway, he wasn't calling him a bullshitter, but he kind of was. Yeah. So anyway, I love the man, and he's a great man.
He is. And I'm going to say to that too, even the young kids, like my boys are young, and the other young kids in Badger State, they all listened to Gerald and liked him. They all loved him, not just liked him. I think they all loved him. My boys would go out and find where Gerald was at the polls and talk to him, because he'd always tell them, what's up today, you know, and talk. And they, even in Louisville, at the end, my sons were, you know, joshing with Gerald and having fun back and forth the last day there. It was great.
He related to all generations. I don't know quite how he did it, but he would talk to these young guys. He would just have them roll them. But they're all taking it in too. They listened to the advice, and they were smart to do that. So anyway, again, a tribute to all the people that are here today, and how kind he was to people, and a mentoring.
Yep.
You know, even older people that were talking about farming practices, they would turn to Gerald as to what his advice might be. So a voice of reason to many.
Right, and a gentleman, an easy guy to talk to all the time, I thought.
Yes. We spoke every day, just about, and he would call me up, and he could tell by the tone of my voice if it wasn't the best day, and he'd say, Dan, you seem a little off today. Well, I'm not having the best day. Well, is there anything I can do about that? Probably not, Gerald. Well, I want to talk to you later on, and hope your day is better. So that's how he rolled, and you just can't replace this kind of guy, and I'm going to miss him.
We're all proud and better off to know him, right?
Amen to that. Yep. Thanks, gentlemen, for the chance to talk.
All right, Chandler, we got Craig Ladwig here with the Never Giving Up tractor. And about 17 years ago, your son Bryce had a bout with cancer, and we had a benefit for him. You want to tell us what Gerald did there?
Well, they did a benefit, and I believe it was a toy tractor that they had there on auction. And Gerald held his hand up until he was the last man standing, and I don't remember the exact price, but $4,000 or $5,000 he paid, and wrote a check and never thought twice about it. That's just the type of guy he was, very giving.
Right, and I think that was the highest item sold that day.
Yeah,
I remember
it was.
right. And it wasn't just him; all the pullers were there.
Everyone.
Right? And it was a huge success, if I remember right.
Yep.
And Gerald helped with that. Gerald, I remember standing there and said, Gerald, nobody's bidding against you. You don't have to keep bidding. And he did.
He did.
He did.
He had a number in his head, and he was going to spend that amount of money. And
yep.
And yeah, God bless him for it. We miss you, buddy.
Yep. The great stories. Thanks for telling us that,
You
Craig.
bet. Absolutely.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. A lot of good stories there and a lot of good memories, right, Mike? I don't
I
know.
don't know why I can't get their mic to unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Mike?
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
How about now, Greg?
There we go.
Can you hear me now, Mike? Yep, I can hear you. How about us here?
Yep. Yep. We're all good. I liked all the stories there. I think Dan
You want to
Holland.
do this?
I think Dan Holland's stories about your dad filling fuel tanks is not one many better ones.
We're a little bit delayed, I think.
Yeah. All right.
Harley's in the background.
Something racing around. But
how about now, Greg? Are we back together?
Yep.
Okay. No, I just some of them stories I had never heard before. The one just now, Greg Ladwig, and it just pretty inspiring, and it set the bar pretty high that we all need to keep doing stuff like that for other people and helping everybody. And just want a couple thanks to the people that helped us put the party on. For Dad, there was Dan Holland helped a lot, Brian Saunders and Randy Goodwin, Michelle and Jared Bennett, and my whole family. Mariah Taylor, my wife Teresa here has been my supporter here, but I think the biggest thing needs to go to my mom. A lot of people, they were married how many years? I mean, they've been married a long damn time, and she's held her own pretty good, and she's doing all right, but she's gonna miss Dad a lot, like we always are. But you guys, it was just a great weekend we had there. So I just can't thank everyone enough, and you guys all do a great job at this, and I hope we can help keep supporting everyone like we have been and keep doing that. That's the main thing.
That is. The people hung around there till 11 o'clock that night.
It was
crazy.
We had
there.
Dan too.
Yeah, and then we got a lot of other my son Trent and Dan Flannery, my son-in-law. I mean, spent a lot of time. Corey and Steve and Mark in the shop ready, and it just shows you how much people are willing to help. These guys all volunteered to do this, and it's fun to see everyone come together and do this. And then you and John and Chandler to come down and spend the time that you guys did, and it means a lot. So it's something to set the bar high, and we all need to keep doing this to help each other out in times.
Yep. Well, we did pick up a sponsor for the show, Casper Ag Solutions. He sent us a little help to keep this going, so that's much appreciated. Thank him.
Yep. Thanks for Ed there. Yep.
Yep. But I like the stories. The story about your dad filling up people's heating oil and not wanting any credit.
Yep. And to be honest with you, Greg, I didn't hear much about them because he never once he told whoever to fill the tanks up. It was a done conversation. He didn't go around talking to other people about it, just helping people out there in the time of need. And he did that more than people realize, and even myself, and maybe even Mom. But it's just something he did, and enjoyed doing. And it's pretty humbling to hear them stories like that. It makes you feel good. And like I said, he never talked about doing it. He wasn't a person to brag about it. He just went and did it because we know that somebody needed some help.
Yep, he did it for the right reason.
Yes, sir.
Yep. To help people.
Correct.
Yep. I can't read any of the comments along the bottom here on my phone, but there was quite a few of them there. Cindy Hook's comment on about Gerald and how great a guy he was too. That was one I seen. But John, you got anything?
I just think it was a great day. You guys did an awesome job of having everything set up there, and good send off for your dad. And had to be a hard day.
It was a hard day, but it was a good day to know that our whole family did this together. And then just like I said, hundreds of times, the amount of people and the stories and who they were, where they're from. And to be honest with you, some of them I didn't even know, but obviously they're friends of Mom and maybe my wife and whatnot, but it was just very humbling to see all those people at the shop, and it was something I'll never forget. It was a heck of an experience to know that Dad and our family are surrounded by such great people.
Well,
Just what the doctor ordered, what you guys needed. Big
Yep.
hug.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yep.
something like that happens. It's good to have family around you.
Yes, it is.
There's a couple comments on here. One was from Indiana Pulling Family, sending out hugs for you, and
Sure.
there's a couple others. One that was on there. Chandler, was it something Wally Ditworth or something?
Oh yeah, Wally. Wally has been. He made some of the mac salad and has always cooked food for us at the Warren Tractor Bowl. He's the one that made all the food when you guys come and eat at Warren. And Wally has been a friend of Dad's. I mean, I can remember going into Wally's Tavern. We had fish sandwiches when we were little. So he's a very a good friend of Dad's from many years ago.
Marla Burns says, great tribute to a great guy. Wally put on there, he's a humble man. What was that again, Chandler? I'll read it to him. Gerald was a great and humble man. Whoever he was, it was a fun place to be.
Yep. And
well, Brian Saunders had a story on there. We must not have got it on the show here, but he had stories about him too. So we can get that.
Brian's been a good friend of our family and the community for all these years, and he a few years ago he traveled with us for a few years, and I think him and Dad were we go around the Midwest and they talked to one another about what they've seen and had questions, this and that. And I think Brian really enjoyed Dad having a little bit of storytelling for him, different experiences. So yeah, I'm sure that's what Brian meant.
Yep. And
I think good thing that Chandler has that, but there's a lot more people in that at one point in time there. I know that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. The book is huge, and I bet you not everybody signed it. That was there.
Right, exactly. And we had a private funeral for Dad, just our family and some close friends there the Sunday before, and had some people sign the book there, and then we had another book there. So very, very glad we did it to honor Dad, and then just to give everyone a chance to socialize and tell the stories that you guys are able to do like that. It really means a lot to us.
I think it's great to get people to know Gerald,
Yes.
Rather good deal.
And my mom also. My mom had a lot of classmates there that were really good friends of hers and gave her a chance to visit some people she may not have seen for quite a few years. So it was good for everybody.
Yep. I talked to your mom. Okay. I thought
she finally pulled up a stool there in the center of the shop, and
yes, she did. She sat there for a long time talking to a lot of people, and she really enjoyed it. Yep.
Good. I hope if you need anything, you sure reach out to us or anybody.
You guys have done a heck of a job with this whole program you've done, and to spend the extra time, this tribute to Dad, it's more than we can ask for. It's very well done.
Well, it's a privilege to be able to do it. I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
I don't have any more questions or stories unless somebody's got something they want to ask out there or tell a story or something.
I was talking with Doug Ruth and Dee, and he was talking about when he bought the tractor from Brinkmeyer's, and he actually got the engine from you guys, Mike. And one of the first times they're wrenching on it up to Gary Brinkmeyer's shop, and Dwayne Hook was there, Gerald was there, and Gary, and he was on a creeper. He was going to torque the rods down, and he said, Dwayne kicked him. He says, he kicked me. And so I rolled out from underneath there with the creeper. And Dwayne told me, get the F out of it. That's my job.
Yep.
And he looked at Gary, and Gary says, yep, that's his job. And the whole time your dad was sitting there just laughing.
Yep. I think Dwayne and Dad were kind of sort of the same. I mean, the same demeanor, the way they handle themselves. I mean, great people. They're one of a kind. They were two good mentors, that's for damn sure.
Yep.
A lot of good stories wandering around chatting with people, and I think was good for a lot of them to reminisce with you guys, and I'm sure you got overloaded by people and stories and stuff, but I'm glad to see the turnout for you guys. That was
Yes, we
amazing.
are too. Yep, it's fun to hear everyone's stories. A lot of stories we may not have ever heard of before, and it's nice to hear them. And whatever they were about, it don't matter if it was farming or tractor pulling or whatnot. It's great to hear different stories, and it was awesome.
Yep. And there was many
Well,
more people that we didn't get on film here. Just standing
Right.
around talking to people, and I wish we
Yep.
could have anybody on, but just it wasn't in the cards that day.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. But
hard to get some people on the camera. They don't want to talk, and
sure,
so yeah. Hopefully, they'll all get out there. You'll hear a lot.
oh yeah. You all hear the stories from somebody or somewhere along the line. So yeah, it's all good.
Yep. Well, if we have anything else, we might be coming to the end of it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, we don't have
I just
too
want to
many.
thank Chandler and Greg and John for spending the extra time doing this. You guys do a heck of a show, and I hope it continues. And if Ed Casper is willing to sponsor it and keep it moving, I think more people can do the same thing. And it's great to expose Badger State and tractor pulling and to see a different side of everything.
It is, and we enjoy doing it. It does take a lot. It is a lot of fun and get out of the house here, and some days, and we don't even know what we're going to do next week, but we're going to work on it. We got to figure something out. So
That's right.
So I like these taped ones better. It gives guys time to talk, and it seems like people are more relaxed than they are when you're live.
Sure.
People to talk. And stories. So that's all I've got, unless you guys have anything else, Chandler or John.
Nope. I just know that I will have the full video up next week on Tuesday. I don't know exactly what time, but just because we were so crunched on time, I just put as many stories in as I could. But I will have the full video out next week on Tuesday.
Nice.
All right.
On the Badger State Facebook page.
Okay. Perfect.
So
I appreciate it, because I know Randy, a couple other people that we interviewed that will still be on there, until. So,
Well, definitely enjoy Arizona, you guys, and
We will,
relax.
and
Soak it
hope
all in.
everyone has a safe spring, and June 10th will be right around the corner for Baraboo, and all looking forward to it. And it'll sneak up on us, but hope everyone has a good, safe spring, and we can have a good, safe summer.
you too, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right. Yep. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.